Democratic State Representative Chris Turner of Grand Prairie, thank you so much and welcome back to Eye on Politics.
Thanks, Jack. Great to be with you.
So let's talk about this DART bill that is very controversial, obviously, in North Texas. And I'm just wondering where you are on this bill because it looks like it's going to go to the full House. And so how will you be voting and why?
Sure. Well, it may well be before the full House here in the next week or so. We're coming up on the deadline to pass House bills, so we'll see what happens. But I don't support that bill. I'll be voting no if it does make it to the House floor. And even though I don't represent a service area, a DART service area presently, I think DART is instrumental to our region's connectivity and our region's economic development. And we need to be doing more to connect North Texas to one another, not less. And so I think the bill that is an attack on DART is really moving in the wrong direction. I think we need to be moving in the other direction, is figure out how to get more communities connected to mass transit, such as the ones I represent, and how do we create more seamless integration between DART on the eastern side of the Metroplex, Trinity Metro on the western side of the Metroplex, and not to mention the Denton Transit Authority as well, to really better serve our region of over 8 million people, to be truly the world class region that we are. That requires efficient and connected public transportation.
I know one of the issues in this DART bill, there's now a committee substitute, so a change was made. The original bill was going to reduce the penny sales tax to 0.75 cents, and now that's been restored to the full penny, but it would allow 6 cities that are under, they say they're giving too much money and not getting that service back. It would allow them to have a 25% cut in their contribution to even things out. And this has been back and forth at the legislature. It was 2 years ago, and they were told to go back home and figure it out amongst themselves, but that hasn't happened. And so it's back in the legislature. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah. Well, look. I will say this: that the cities that are wanting some changes from DART, I think they need to be heard. And I know Plano has raised several concerns. I think some other cities have as well. And I think those concerns need to be seriously listened to and addressed if possible. But what should absolutely not happen is the legislature should not step in and undermine a local compact that's been in place since the 1980s, that really provides the best mass transit in our region. Some of the best in the state. DART has the longest light rail network in the United States. So that's something we should be proud of in North Texas. We shouldn't try to undermine it. So to the extent that there are service improvements that can be made in Plano and some of the other cities, absolutely. Let's figure out how to make that happen. But undermining the financial stability of DART is not going to accomplish that, and it's going to create much more severe consequences that'll ripple across Dallas and the rest of North Texas.
And my last question on this topic, just following up on your point, the cities say they want to be heard, and they said this legislation, the only reason DART came to the table is because of this legislation. So, what would your message be to DART? I know you oppose this bill, but what would your message be to DART?
Well, look, I think DART should absolutely be at the table with all of its member cities and work to address concerns. But doing it in a way that is going to be beneficial for the long-term future of DART and transportation in our region. And I should add, as a Tarrant County representative, we have the TRE and that runs from Fort Worth to Dallas. And that's a really important service, and that service, my understanding is imperiled if this legislation were to pass, and that has everyday implications for people in Tarrant County and Dallas County, and catastrophic implications for the World Cup, which is going to be in Arlington next year. So it's really important that we get this right and not take harmful actions in the state legislature that's going to undermine some of the great work going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
And so also, let's talk about the lottery. I think people may be surprised to hear that the lottery could be abolished this session, right? So how concerned are you about this possibility?
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about the lottery, Jack, and I am concerned, but I am confident, though, at the end of the day, the legislature is not going to abandon more than 30 years of mostly successful work that the Texas Lottery has done. The lottery raises significant money for public education in our state, and raises, importantly, valuable funds to serve our veterans. In fact, in my first legislative session, I passed the Veterans Lottery Scratch-Off Bill that to date has raised over $260 million for veterans just in the last 15 years. That money is not going to get replaced. It's not going to come from somewhere else. So people who say, let's get rid of the lottery, well, tell me how you're going to replace $250 million in funding for our veterans that they depend on and they deserve, frankly. And while on a public education, while it is the lottery revenue is a small percentage of the overall education budget, it's still a couple $1 billion. And so where is that money going to come from? And so to the extent that there are problems in the lottery commission or with the lottery game itself, let's identify those and let's work to fix them. I'm confident we can do that. But it would be crazy, in my view, to completely get rid of the lottery.
And so your message is let's fix the problems, all while keeping the lottery. And I know that the Senate has voted, and the Lottery Commission itself has now said they're no longer going to use these third-party courier services that were used and allowed to be used by the Lottery Commission for a while, that produced these very questionable jackpots that were awarded. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. I do think that there's a growing consensus that at a minimum, the courier services need to be banned, and if not banned, severely or significantly regulated. And so I think that was clearly one of the major problems, and optically just is a bad look. These courier services were able to do what they did. And I think that legislature taking steps to address that would certainly go a long way to, I think resolving a lot of the concerns that are out there about the lottery and building public confidence back in the lottery to the extent we need to.
And it just so happens that the Lottery Commission is under sunset review, which happens for all agencies, I think every 12 years or so. And so, what impact or how would you like to see that resolved then?
Well, I'd like to see the lottery commission continue, but it would be reasonable for the legislature if people weren't comfortable, signing off on a 12-year extension of the lottery commission or the lottery itself to extend it for another 2 years. We do that all the time, where sometimes the sunset process isn't really ready to move forward, and so you extend something another 2 years to the next session, giving the legislature some time in the interim and the sunset commission time in the interim to work on addressing some of the long-term issues. So that would be a reasonable approach, and that's, I think, one possibility that may be considered.
And my last question to you is just on this is, have you spoken with other lawmakers from, or at least our region or across the state, and what are they saying about this? Do you think the lottery will survive?
I do think it will survive, Jack. I have talked to other members in the House, and I think that there is a general consensus there need to be some changes. There needs to be some action taken. But I think most people stop short of saying, hey, we should abolish the lottery. So my best guess is we'll land on something that creates some reform and some changes, but allows the lottery to continue operating so we can continue generating some revenue for the state. Particularly important to me is being able to continue supporting our veterans who've served our nation in uniform through the Fund for Veterans Assistance that the lottery supports.
State Representative Chris Turner of Grand Prairie. Thank you so much as always. We appreciate it.